The John Denver mystery is finally solved, and the truth isn't just tragic, it's deeply unsettling. He was the voice of open skies, the man who made the mountains sing. But behind the gentle smile of John Denver lay a story far more complicated and far more human than fans ever imagined. Born Henry John Deutschendorf Jr. in Roswell, New Mexico, Denver's childhood was anything but stable. Raised in a strict military family, he moved constantly as his father served as a U.S. Air Force pilot. That restless upbringing planted two seeds, a sense of not quite belonging and a lifelong love for wide-open landscapes. Both would echo through his music for decades. Everything changed when his grandmother gave him a guitar at age 11. That simple gift set him on a path that would define a generation. Inspired by artists like Elvis Presley, Denver developed a style that felt both intimate and expansive. By the time he left Texas Tech University and headed to Los Angeles, he had already begun shaping the voice the world would soon recognize. His breakthrough came quietly, but powerfully. Writing Leaving on a Jet Plane, later made famous by Peter, Paul, and Mary, Denver proved he could capture emotion like few others. And then came the 1970s, his golden era. Songs like Take Me Home, Country Roads, Rocky Mountain High, and Annie's Song didn't just top charts, they became part of people's lives. His music wasn't flashy. It was honest, warm, real. But Denver wasn't just a musician. He stepped into Hollywood, starring in Oh, God, alongside George Burns, proving his charm extended beyond the stage. Still, his heart always belonged to nature, especially Aspen, Colorado, where he built a life surrounded by the mountains he loved. Behind the scenes, though, things weren't as peaceful. His marriage to Annie Martell, his muse for Annie's Song, ended in heartbreak. Fame, pressure, and constant touring took their toll. In a moment that still shocks people today, Denver reportedly cut their marital bed in half with a chainsaw during the divorce. It was raw, symbolic, and revealed a side of him few ever saw. His second marriage to Cassandra Delaney also collapsed, leaving behind bitterness and emotional scars. Despite his public image as a gentle, nature-loving soul, Denver was wrestling with stress, loneliness, and personal conflict. And then came the day that changed everything. On October 12, 1997, John Denver took off in his experimental aircraft, the Rutan Long EZ. He was an experienced pilot, confident, passionate about flying. But minutes into the flight, something went terribly wrong. The engine failed. The plane plunged into the Pacific Ocean. At first, it was labeled a tragic accident, pilot error, maybe mechanical failure. But over time, the truth became clearer and darker. Investigators discovered that the fuel selector valve had been placed in an awkward, hard-to-reach position. To switch fuel tanks, Denver had to physically turn his body mid-flight, something incredibly dangerous in such a sensitive aircraft. While attempting this maneuver, he likely lost control. Fuel starvation shut down the engine. And that was it. But it didn't stop there. Reports later revealed Denver had already complained about this exact issue. The design flaws, the lack of proper guidance, the insufficient safety measures, these weren't unknown. They were ignored. And that's what makes this story so unsettling. Because this wasn't just bad luck. It was a chain of preventable failures, design oversights, inadequate support, and one critical moment of human vulnerability. Some speculated about deeper personal struggles, stress, emotional strain, even depression, but no evidence ever pointed to drugs or alcohol. Instead, what remains is something more haunting, a perfect storm of flawed machinery and imperfect human judgment. The man who sang about freedom in the skies lost his life in one. Today, Denver's music still plays. His voice still soars through speakers, carrying the same warmth and wonder it always did. But the mystery of his death leaves behind a sobering truth. Even the brightest, most grounded souls can be undone, not by who they are, but by what goes unnoticed around them. And sometimes, the saddest endings aren't sudden. They're built, piece by piece, until it's too late.